In today's video, we're going to talk about AT&T and actually T-Mobile and Verizon too. And the reason why I want to put this all into perspective is because these companies don't really operate in a vacuum. They obviously all operate independently, but they're always being compared to each other in terms of what they're doing. So I want to talk about AT&T in this article I was reading about their CFO, their Chief Financial Officer, DeRoche. He was talking about how fiber mergers and acquisitions is not their top focus. Now, this does not mean they will not purchase any players. It means that it's not a primary focus of what they're doing. So I don't want you guys to think that because the way that some of these articles are worded or how some of these executives will try to kind of play coy and they don't want to show their hands. But here's the basic premise of AT&T's situation. First of all, AT&T has been doing a nice job of paying down their debts. You can't do much because of financial restrictions if you have debt. You can't buy much. You can't explore new opportunities as much. It really hinders what you could do because you have to be fiscally responsible. And AT&T was not that for the last 10 years. Not until recently when they refocused their business over the last 5, 6, or 7 years, they've kind of fixed things. That whole media era with Warner and, DirecTV and all that, it was just the worst time ever for them. Right? But they have really turned things around. They've stabilized their business, they've paid down debts, and they've refocused their business on fiber and wireless. And now with that kind of being the direction or the movement of the company, now they can start looking at certain things like expanding their fiber, right? Which has been an absolute winner for them. That's going to continue. They're not going to let that derail. Now, if you're going to be buying fiber players, that's investing in your core business. So why wouldn't they explore it if the right deal came along? So the terminology or the wordplay, the word soup you get from these executives isn't always exactly what you need to know. It's more so what they want you to know. They're not going to publicly tell you what they want to do, but I can assure you there are constant talks and negotiations happening behind closed doors in which companies are looking to acquire other smaller players who may be financially in trouble looking to move on and seek a buyout or an acquisition or merger, however you want to term it, right? Now, the reason why I brought up Verizon and T-Mobile is because they're doing these things too, right? Verizon with Frontier, T-Mobile's got some smaller players, and they're looking to kind of go into the wireline business. Why the hell wouldn't AT&T look for these same opportunities, right? They did a joint venture with the Gigapower piece with BlackRock. That's not going to be stopping. Hopefully that scales up for them, becomes an important business component for them. Obviously, they're building their own fiber. They're shutting down copper, right? Their old network infrastructure. That throws a wrench into the woodworks, right? If they were going to buy a company, have to incorporate it, integrate it, all those things, that basically puts everything on hold. Guys, it is impossible for big companies like this to be fleet-footed and to do multiple things at the same time. We've learned that from every single provider. When T-Mobile was doing the merger with Sprint, it was all about integration. Then it was about the network. Then it was about scaling. But it happens in steps. They can't do more than one thing at once. If you try to do more than one big thing at once, it usually leads to you not being able to do anything right at all. Mistakes, mess ups, problems, right? Focus on the one thing, get it done, move on to the next thing, right? It's kind of like a fundamental core operations kind of prioritization concept, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing, I think, from AT&T. They cannot do more than one thing at once. They simply cannot, right? They tried, it didn't work. They tried to do media and wireless and wireline, it did not work, right? Core business operations continue to be the focus. They're not going to deviate from that. They will explore opportunities, trust me. Dish is in their crosshairs, right? Those types of assets with spectrum are easy, right? They can put that spectrum on air immediately. That's not what we're talking about here, but a network decommissioning like copper would get a huge wrench into the woodworks if something like an acquisition was to happen, especially a sizable one, scalable one, which could be in play. You just never know. Anyways, I just wanted to give you guys that update and kind of discuss that topic. Let me know what you think about this whole concept of AT&T, whether or not they're in the merger acquisitions field. They most definitely are. They're going to play the field. They're going to look at the best options. And if something golden comes along, they're not going to pass up on it, especially not during this administration. That is prime and a ripened opportunity to acquire mega assets moving into the future. It's going to have to be the right price, going to have to be the right timing, and they've got to be further along in a lot of their projects, right, before these things can happen. I'd say this is probably a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years before you see something from AT&T, but it definitely could happen. What's your take? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the bell notifications and check out some more of our videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.